Alright guys, another week and we are back for some more Championship transfer rumours, and it's a big week in the Championship as well because EFL action is back this weekend and I for one cannot wait. It's going to be a big week for the channel as well. Make sure to stay tuned. If you're not subscribed already, make sure to go ahead and do so. Tomorrow I'll have a fantasy football video coming out, so if you want to join the BenHD YouTube League, make sure to stay tuned for that video. And then coming on Wednesday will be my Game Week 1 Championship predictions. But the focus of today will be on some transfer news. Let's start out with the done deals. We spoke about this one last time, but it has since been confirmed. Crescencio Somerville has joined West Ham United on a permanent basis. Leeds not getting as much money as we first thought in the end, the deal being worth 25 million plus add-ons to follow as well, but it was originally thought a few weeks and months ago that Leeds will be holding out for a minimum of 30 million plus, but in the end West Ham getting that deal done for a base fee of around about 25 million. Listen, what can you say about Somerville? He was, for me, by far and away the best player in the Championship last season, deserves this crack at Premier League football, and I think West Ham have got a brilliant player there. And another top player that we've seen leaving the Championship is Gabriel Sara, who has joined Galatasaray on a permanent basis for a base fee of around about 15 million. You feel like the Turkish Giants have got an absolute bargain with that one. Now, there will be some juicy add-ons to follow in that deal, I'm sure, but a base fee of around about 15 million they've played for Sara. The Brazilian was one of the best midfielders in the Championship last season. He was the creative hub of that Norwich City side, and how they go about replacing him and the dynamics of that Norwich team without Sara for this upcoming season will be quite interesting. We've seen QPR signing French holding midfielder Jonathan Varane on a permanent basis for an undisclosed fee. We've been talking about this rumour for quite a few weeks now, but this one finally getting over the line. I think that's a nice addition into Marti Cifuentes' side. He's a 22-year-old holding midfielder, 6'3", and seems like he has been a top target for QPR all summer, so good for them to get that deal over the line before the season starts. Blackburn Rovers have completed the signing of Andy Weimann. We discussed this one on last time's video, but it has since been confirmed. By no means at the peak of his powers right now, Weimann, but still a solid pickup on a free transfer. Probably say similar sorts of things about Danny Bart as well, who's also joined Blackburn Rovers on a free transfer. Obviously quite a bit of experience they've added into that defence recently with the pickups of Bart and Cal McFadzean, who's recently rejoined as well. Coventry's deal for Brandon Thomas Asante has been confirmed, and you have to say that Coventry team really is coming together quite nicely ahead of next season now. Mark Robbins has quite a few different options that he can rely upon in that final third. While Thomas Asante is by no means the most prolific of players at Championship level, he'll give you a bundle of energy, and I feel like he'll be a nice fit into how Coventry want to play. Oxford United continuing to add Championship experience to their ranks. They've picked up Matt Phillips on a free transfer. He was obviously let go by West Brom in the summer. There was a feeling a few weeks ago that he might have dropped down to League One, but he has got a Championship club and will be joining Oxford. Another pickup by Oxford is Malcolm Ebiowei, who's joined the club on a season-long loan. Now, Ebiowei was really highly rated from his early days at Derby County, but since making the move to Crystal Palace, things haven't quite happened for him. He's had a few tough loan spells in that time. Hopefully for his sake, this one at Oxford goes to plan. Hull City have completed a deal for German attacking midfielder Marvin Mellem, who comes over from Darmstadt in the Bundesliga. Last season in the Bundesliga, he scored 3 goals and got 2 assists, can play in a variety of different roles, but predominantly looks like an attacking midfielder type. We know that Hull are going to have to be pretty busy between now and the end of the window, but hopefully that's a bit of a kickstart for the next deals to come in these coming weeks for them. And we saw Blondie Nuku signing for Sunderland on a free transfer. The former Stoke City goalkeeper had been on trial with Sunderland, and after a successful period with the Black Cats, the goalkeeper signed a 2-year deal there. But those are some of the done deals that have gone through in the Championship over these past few days. Now, without any further ado, let's jump into the rumours. Leeds have reportedly approached Wolves over the signing of Hugo Bueno, who's attracting plenty of interest right now. It's not just Leeds who are interested. Earlier in the the window, we reported on Norwich sniffing around the Spanish fullback. You've also got the likes of Celtic, Feyenoord and PSV who are keeping tabs on him as well. Speaking of Leeds United, they are in the market for a Somerville replacement, and Norwich City's Jonny Rowe has popped up on their radar. It's thought that Leeds will go in with an opening offer of around about £7 million for the 21-year-old now. First half of last season, Rowe was one of the best players in the Championship. He then picked up that injury, and when he came back after, couldn't quite get himself up and going again, but when fully fit, absolutely has the capabilities of being one of the best wingers in the Championship, and at such a young age as well, definitely got all the attributes to go on and become a Premier League player in the future. He scored 12 goals and got 2 assists for Norwich last season, and that was despite missing a chunk of that campaign through injury as well. 7 million would seem below market value, though I would be surprised if Norwich accepted that opening offer, but worth taking into consideration. He is in the final year of his contract right now, although Norwich do have the option to extend that by a further year, which I'm sure they'll trigger. Definitely think that'd be a good signing for Leeds though. And Norwich could be hit with quite a few blows over these next few weeks. Obviously, we've already seen Gabriel Sara leaving, Jonny Rowe now attracting plenty of interest, and the same can also be said of Josh Sargent as well. Reportedly, a number of Premier League clubs are keeping tabs on the USA international, and as we get closer to the end of the window, wouldn't be surprised if that interest does start to ramp up, especially with those lower Premier League clubs that still haven't got a proper number 9 over the line. While plenty of Norwich's big players have been linked with a move away from the club right now, there is some good news. It does look like Callum Doyle will be joining the club on a season-long loan, with the player set to undergo his medical now. I think that's a really positive addition for Norwich. I've always been really impressed by Doyle at Championship level, obviously. Spent last season with Leicester City, although that campaign was interrupted by injury. Defensive problems were pretty rife at Norwich last season, but that back line is coming together now, obviously with the arrival of Cordoba earlier in the window and Doyle here. I think is a really nice pickup. There's an interesting transfer line about Scott McKenna, who has been linked with a move to Cardiff. He is available on a free transfer upon his contract with Nottingham Forest expiring. However, while Cardiff have been linked with a move, it is understood that Spanish side Las Palmas are leading the race for the Scotsman at this point in time. One deal that Cardiff are really close to completing is for midfielder Alex Robertson, who appears to be on the move from Manchester City. We've spoken about this one quite a bit on the channel over these past few weeks. Obviously did well during his loan spell with Portsmouth last season. Pompey were keen on signing him on a permanent basis, but it looks like Cardiff have won the race for his signature, with Robertson now set to undergo a medical with the club. It's thought that the overall package for the 21-year-old could be worth up and around £3 million, so Cardiff splashing a fair bit of money on this deal. But I think with his age, pedigree and potential, that could be a decent pickup there from Cardiff for sure. Hull City are continuing talks with FC Basel over a move for Canadian international Liam Miller, who obviously spent last season on loan with my club, Preston North End. Would be good to see Miller back in the Championship for next season. I think with the new approach that Hull want to go with for this upcoming season as well, a player like Miller would be a nice fit into that side. Leicester City's Casey McAteer has been linked with plenty of Championship clubs ahead of a potential loan move back to the EFL. Hull City among those sides who have been in talks. Tyrese Campbell's had a tough few years, hasn't he, where injuries haven't been kind to him, but the 24-year-old is available as a free agent right now, and plenty of Championship clubs have been interested. The likes of West Brom, Swansea, Cardiff and Sheffield United have all seen linked. When fully fit, if you can get him back to the level he was at a couple of years ago, and bearing in mind he's only 24 years old right now, I think you could get a cracking player there, especially on a free transfer. Very interested to see where he ends up in a few weeks. Sheffield United forward Will Asula is on his way to sign for Newcastle United, with a deal being agreed for around about £10 million, with a potential further £5 million that could come in add-ons as well. Newcastle obviously see the potential in the young forward to drop that much money on him, and Sheffield United getting a decent looking fee for him. Stoke City are said to be interested in a move for Blackburn midfielder Lewis Travis. They've been linked with a few midfielders of late. This story particularly interesting because Blackburn are interested in Stoke midfielder Lewis Baker, and so a potential swap deal could be on the cards between those two. It's been confirmed that Watford have accepted an offer in the region of £25 million for Colombian attacking midfielder Yasser Asprilla. That offer coming from Rennes. Obviously we spoke about this one on last time's video. However, there has been a slight twist in this one, with Leicester City reportedly still sniffing around the Colombian international, while Watford have accepted an offer from Rennes for Asprilla. Personal terms between the player and club haven't yet been agreed, so there is still time for a potential hijack to go through here. I'm sure we'll get more clarity on that one in these next couple of days. QPR are supposedly in the market for Nottingham Forest winger Josh Bowler. This would be an interesting addition. QPR obviously looking to add a little bit more creativity into that side, replace the outgoing Willock. Now, Bowler has had other Championship clubs chasing his signature throughout this summer so far. Sheffield United, probably the most prominent, who have been linked with Bowler in the past. He obviously spent last season out on loan with Cardiff. Definitely had glimpses of quality, but consistency wasn't the best for Bowler last season, I didn't think. But at his fire and best, I do think he's a very capable player in the Championship, and for a side like QPR, I think he'd be a nice addition actually. Hull City is still in the market for a new number 9 after missing out on Brandon Thomas Asante, and it seems as if they've turned their attention to Bristol City forward Tommy Conway. Reportedly, the Tigers have submitted a £5 million bid for the Bristol City forward. Now, Hull certainly aren't alone in their interest in Conway. Plenty of Championship clubs have been sniffing around the one-to-way Bristol City forward. We've also got Middlesbrough and Burnley who have been heavily linked with him over these past few days and weeks. Also seen Stoke City mentioned in the conversations with Conway as well. It's been reported that Middlesbrough are closing in on a deal to sign Manchester City youngster Micah Hamilton, and this could turn out to be a really nice pickup from Borough. Thinking about the last player they signed from Man City, Morgan Rogers, that turned out to be a really nice deal for Middlesbrough. Hopefully this one will go down a similar path. Looks like a good dynamic forward who can play anywhere across the forward line. He's made a few first team appearances for Man City, including a couple of appearances in the Champions League where he got a goal and assist last season. That one looks to be a permanent transfer, although Man City will include a buyback clause in that deal. But that will wrap it up for today's video, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go in to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and make sure to get all your thoughts on the current transfer market in the description down below. Other than that though, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.